Hello and welcome to the Mechabellum mini tournament week in 97 cast. Gonna take a look at all regions and see how the people have done. Alright, so first one is gonna be Flower Fairy. Pretty stacked matchups here. Let's see what he was up to. So pretty known standard player for the most part. Wins with the Sabertooth. And Christina with the Amplifying Hound Stormcaller pack. Alright. So it's gonna be Hound Arclights. This is just a crawler. Okay, so pretty standard setup here. Stormcallers should have a slight edge because the Hounds and the Arclights will do the chuff clearing. But Stormcallers not that good into Sledgehammers anymore since they got the nerfed attack speed. And since there's no chuff yet, other than the Hounds, he does not make it. Okay, so Marksman is the pickup for Flower Fairy, as per normal. Farseer gets the Amplifying Core here. And it's 2 Arclights on the flanks on round 2. Just straight up chuff for Christina. Farseer showing why it's the best drop in the early game. Gains you a lot of tempo for 0 commitment. Okay. We got tanks here. Supply enhancement for both of these. Since they're planning a big long game, they haven't dealt any damage to each other. But as you can see, on round 7, supply enhancement will not have paid off its cost. So as per usual, not a great pick, just for very greedy players. But I would say this is probably the best situation where you could pick that kind of a card. Alright, so double fangs behind the tower, and now Flower Fairy will go for the Stormcaller as well. Where it's fire tech for the Hounds already. And more chuff in the back. So fire tech is pretty strong on the Hounds. However, if you get a Mustang pack for each 2 dog packs, you can clear all the missiles, and now Christina is in triple missile territory. So if there is a interceptor coming out, his entire board lacks damage and chuff clear. That's an easy round 4 win. Still hasn't made use of the Amplifying Cores. Supply versus efficient light manufacturing, so pretty greedy play by Flower Fairy yet again. In terms of advantage, Sabertooth got dropped in for free. So highest power spike in terms of just the normal cards picked here, and the specialist is in favor for Flower Fairy. Distraction Caller to get rid of the first Stormcaller volley, and then just more Marksman. Another thing is the incendiary bomb first volley also gets countered by this technique, so it's a double worthy beacon play from the crawler. And some marksmen got some levels now, so they are doing much better than before. Because they can clear the arc lights and the stormcallers a little bit faster. So another sizable loss. Got Rhino Assault. Battleship not really that great if there's too many units on the flanks. So it's Rhino or skip pretty much. Okay, so Flower Fury goes for the sub-steel ball. That's interesting because due to the fact that he has reduced costs on everything right now and the additional cash from supply and sub-ball, he can produce these balls for free, can use them as chaff units with mechanical division. Very interesting play. Then there is some worms for Christina. Just skipping. Not sure about this one. Maybe because of the amplifying spec? So she needed the carrier for the items? I guess so. So oil does ignite on the same turn it's dropped. Get some pretty good value, but nothing really amazing. And the problem is this was without a unit drop. So if there is some juicy tech coming up that deals with the worms, Christina will get a huge backlash on round 6 and 7. There we go. Instantly punished for not waiting. So it's ranged melters and even more steel bolts. And there is the aforementioned mechanical division. So now there's gonna be a boatload of crawlers and steel bolts at the same time, which is something the worms don't like because they rely on other units to chaff clear. And the fire is not a reliable solution. Raiden technically counters steel bolts, but if you have too many steel bolts, because they come at 100 a pop, you can just outspam the Raiden. So steel bolts getting in the way, latching onto the worms. Raiden does remove this side's marksman, but this side is still losing very, very hard. And it's just the Melta, who usually dies to these worms, does survive because of the tower debuff. And then the rest of the board gets wiped. Alright, so Christina barely makes that round. Giant manufacturing, so committing deeper into the giants. But as I said, you need too many Raidens to make this work. You can't afford that many Raidens on round 7. Not if you're trying to stay into worms as well. And Flower Fairy already had the Melter on the board and already has steel bolts to force you to put EMS on the Raidens, which is not range and is not chain. So your actual damage is very, very limited, even if you're deploying 2 more as he or she did. Sneaky little oil too to remove half of its chaff, since he cannot stop the hounds from firing. So the right side collapses yet again because it doesn't have any chaff. But I think even without the chaff this should be fine for Flower Fairy. Alright. So very convincing victory on game 1. But mostly carried by the fact that Christina was not patient and went straight into worm play. With some questionable item choices, so the specs weren't really played that much. Alright, coming into game 2. Got a fortified steel ball pack. Training spec also okay. Goes for the fortified. And Till goes for a sledgehammer rhino spec, alright. Pretty high value for both, I would say. It's gonna be standard play yet again. Just picking this pack for the Arclight, and then the steel balls are medium chaff, just like the sledges are. And Till deployed his sledges pretty terrible in case it was a aggro setup. But since he knows he's playing Flower Fairy, he should expect standard play most of the time. Although Flower Fairy sometimes is playing different approaches, but it's happening very, very rarely. Right, good start for Flower Fairy. Does actually go for the mass-produced Scorpion here. Interesting. So mass-produced Scorpion reduces the stats by 20% and the range by 10. The range being the bigger part there, because the base stats of the Scorpion are pretty good. But it makes it a 200 cost unit now. Just dropping that on the sledgehammers. But it's an auto win for Till because he has the Phoenixes for this round. Until skipped everything so he could deploy these with his 450 cash. Right, unit drop. 4 Fangs, high value pack. Melting Point, Sandworm and Wraith. Guess you have to go for the Fangs here because it's 4 deploys. And they're both not very high on chaff. Fangs very good into Phoenixes. The Melter could deal with the Phoenixes, but the Wraith is not that good. Sandworm is same deal, not that good into Phoenix. Especially not with charge shot. So I'm guessing it's a Fang. Yeah, it's Fang for both. One more Scorpion, 1 Marksman. Interesting. Another Marksman. Okay, I was gonna say 1 Marksman sounds pretty greedy to me. So now we have 2 Marksmen to deal with the Phoenixes and some medium-sized shaft cleaver with the Scorpions, which both connect quite decently. Okay. Double smoke bomb for both. More marksmen. And one more Arclight for the flank. Upgrades in the safety missile here. Not really sure what for in that case. So Rhino is coming in hot. It's pretty nasty because there's very limited damage here. But one of the reasons why he picked the Mass-Produced Scorpion was in fact that he knew the Rhino might be coming later. And usually you don't sell right away. You just keep the Rhino on the field and see if they have an answer and how it plays out, and afterwards you can still sell. So slight win for Flower Fairy, but nothing too major. Range, firepower and haste, so a bunch of Mustang items. Redeployment is decent for the Rhino, but there is already a little bit too much stuff on the board that he doesn't like. Now since Flower Fairy is usually the Greed Lord, he might go for advanced targeting. And Till doesn't really need any of these, maybe redeployment. They both go advanced targeting, okay. So both going fully for the standard play. So the the Arclight line has finished. Till is still missing some marksmen. And also is in Phoenixes and marksman right now, which is not great. Since you already teched range on the marksman, and then taking the Phoenix as well is probably not a great idea. Both have the option to press loose formation at some point. So it could be Mustang time at some point, or they go for fire. This round goes to Till. Alright, we got Stormcaller, Sandworm, Phantom Ray, Raiden. Stormcaller is decent into this board. Same for Till. Sandworm is a pretty tanky boy, but there's no item yet or anything to facilitate that. It's only one deploy. Phantom Ray is fine for a cheese round, but marksman deal with that quite nicely. And I believe Till is running double shot. Flower Fairy is not. Okay. Same thing for Raiden. I think Stormcaller probably the pick here. Okay, Till does go for the double big boy line. Flower Fairy dropping even more marksman, in case it is the air solution. But for this turn there will be a pretty big power swing, I would say. Just because of the worms. But as I said, there's no items for the worms, and worms love items. Another Scorpion, okay. He might actually go for the dreaded acid double shot. Since the Scorpions are dirt cheap, he can just deploy a few of them. And on this side there is not really much that kills the Scorpions from range. It's more of an issue over here. $9,000 damage on a worm attack, 19k on a scorpion. So he barely survives a level 1, but the level 2 with 18k will take the scorpion down, no problem. So Stormcallers are winning, as expected. But the level 2 worm is undeniable. There's nothing on this board that threatens 100k HP right now. There's also mechanical division on them, which makes the smaller worms more cost efficient because it's only 100 credits. But it makes the scaling of the worm a little bit worse, I would say. So everything will die here other than the lava from the level 1 sandworm, and the level 2 worm can't be killed. Okay, there is some items. There's also a big spell. So shield pretty nice for the worm. Mass produced wasp, also not bad into this kind of board because it there's very little true anti-air here. Tank production in case you want more chaff for the worms. I'm guessing it's bombardment on this side. Be my choice. No, it's gonna be a shield for the ball. Will we see acid? There is the acid. So Flower Fairy has some upgrades to his scorpions now. So in case the scorpion is unhurt, it will actually survive one attack of the worm, since he has fortified spec and defense enhancement. And obviously acid is a huge multiplier for units that already deal decent damage. So once this acid hits something, the entire gun line will deal thousands of more damage to the worms. But as you can see, worms are quite nasty, and even the level 1 worm does get in front because they have replicate now, so they're producing even more lava. However, the other side is losing, and the steel ball with the shield actually makes it through. And the left side is stalling long enough so both of the towers die. So in the end there's nothing left but the big old worm. Oh, Arclight kills the scorpion even. So I guess it's a rinse and repeat. Unless the steel bolts can carry. So one more worm. Nope. Was pretty close though. But as you can see, the mechanical division on the worm does him dirty here. Improve firepower versus wasp swarm. As mentioned, the wasp are pretty decent to this kind of board. I like these scorpions in the back, by the way, because these might get sniped before they get to make contact with the worm. So wasp get pulled with the worm drop. It's a very conservative smoke, to be honest. But you never know, because these units are going pretty fast. Electromag on the Arclights, interesting. So he wants to prevent the mechanical division from screwing him over, because the EMAG does not do anything against replicate. Replicate on this one. The division does, but not the replicate. And other than that, it's a minor boon against Arclights, pretty much. Interesting. So the power actually goes on the Scorpion. Mossbomb was a little bit too far back to tank anything, so now they're tanking. Right side is getting absolutely rolled by the steel power. One big worm to rule them all. There he is. That's a bad tower debuff though, because the worm cannot kill this tower. It is double fortified. So even doing the tower debuff, they can't get rid of that. But there's no asset on the worm yet, because this Scorpion is not in range. Still struggling. Now looks like the steel balls got him. And then there's just the lava. Okay. So it does deal with the worms. It requires a lot of scorpions though. There's the double shot, so now he has some pretty good DPS on these. The reason why he hasn't upgraded them is because it's mass produced, so it's less stats. We gain Farseer here. And then Phantom Rays on the opposite side. With stealth. Interesting. I'm more of an energy shield kind of guy, because the Phantom Rays will reveal themselves as soon as the steel balls arrive. And I'm not sure if that's worth a upgrade. Okay. So Farseers from the random drop. Worms get strike. So they now burrow way faster, and the first attack does splash damage. That's a big amount of splash damage too. Which means if they get hold up by chaff, like this worm right there, they will emerge faster and go in general a little bit quicker. But as you can see, the double shot gun line annihilates even the level 3 worm now. And thanks to the EMAG effect of the Arclights, there will be no lava to tank for the worm, since that would absorb an entire double shot. Alright, so double shot mass produced Scorpion on acid was the play right there. I'm not sure about this one though. Guess it dealt damage, but it's mostly to this unit, most likely. Everything else was still dealing fine with the rest of the board. As you can see, just the normal Scorpions here getting a boatload of damage, since there was not enough chaff in front to kill them. Maybe it could have been a play to click the loose formation here. He lost with 2k. Might be worth the replay for sure, but Flower Fairy beating him, I would say pretty decisively, but the mid game was very close. I got the supply spec. There we go. And marksman spec for the opponent. Okay, so the opponent will be ahead on the marksman game. So it will be interesting how Flower Fairy will play into this, knowing that that is actually his preferred playstyle. So he's now down on deployments for the marksman, but he does have a superior chaff clear. So first round is pretty equal. Wasp swarm. Yep, for both. In the back and in the middle. A rocket. Interesting. So Flower Fairy trying to use his supply spec and regain the tempo that he would lose his turn. And there's multiple sledges coming down with full-fledged carry techs. Right, so Wasp Bomb will do pretty well here on both sides because there's only marksmen. However, these marksmen will tank the Wasp and then they will get dragged to the Arclight, so the Flower Fairy Wasp Swarm gets to the target way quicker. And there was no crawler here to distract the Wasp. So might get debuffed, but it's very, very late. Rhino and Incendiary. Okay. So Incendiary it is for Flower Fairy. Does very well into level 1 sledges. More crawlers. Does quite well into marksman and sledges, because sledges don't really clear crawlers too quickly. Another missile. Then there's a sledge corner deploy on the same side as the missile. So his opponent trying to wrestle back the tempo. But on an incendiary round, I think that is quite questionable. There won't be any huge losses here for Flower Fairy just because of the spell. So 2k9. Mars Mustangs for both of them, okay. Looks like Flower Fairy respects the sledge carry. It does lose both towers. One to the flank and one to the delay on the flank. Because there was no Scorpion here. Laser sight's the pick for both. Big levels on the sledges, and there is range on the scorpions now. Needs to be chaff in the corners now. So looking still pretty meager on the front. But thanks to the double rocket, Flower Fury does make the side play a little bit weaker. But not really by much, so the sledge carry is still online, and he has the EMP in his back pocket. If he actually needs to fight the scorpions. But he's getting quite low now. Underground and bombardment. Yep. Ooh. Big round here. So his opponent just nerfed his sledgehammer severely. They will deal more damage, so they will carry harder. But the attack interval is increased by 30%. They're pretty much at the same deal as they were before with the mechanical rage upgrade. They're just a little bit faster, and they deal twice as much damage. So 3-6 instead of 1-2. I'm not sure if I like this, because there is not enough chaff clear now in the army to deal with the normal sized crawlers and mustangs if these sledges miss their shots. We'll see. More sledges. More scorpions. Right, so the site absolutely evaporated. Crawler spawn delaying the sledge line. And with 90 seconds left on the clock, finally a sledge was actually shooting this scorpion. Every other scorpion didn't even get touched. That's why this upgrade is very, very questionable to take on a sledgehammer carry like this. In fact, I would argue if you have this on, I don't think you should run electromag as well, because the chances that sledgehammers actually hit their desired target is pretty low at that point. And if you do, you have to kill the target, not EMP it. Okay, we got Phantom Race versus Fortress. Phantom Race pretty decent into a Scorpion board because they are flying units. And there's not that much anti-air here, it's just some Mustangs with 0 upgrades. However, this is a fire round. That can be quite scary. Does not run shield on the Phantom Race. Could be counterplay with the Missile Interceptor. He chooses to do so. So he does go for the double rocket again, because this is misplaced. This rocket here can hit the crawler and then the tank. So that's actually a quite big mistake, because the flanks don't do anything. So front is absolutely getting burned. Mouse drop here into Mustangs. Doesn't feel that great. Was drop, Rhino drop. Because most likely the Rhino is gonna hit the crawler here. Or the Mustang? Yeah, does hit the Mustang, alright. So flanking is pretty much non-existent, and then the fire will deal with the rest. And a few marksmen here can deal just fine with the Phantom Race, since he didn't have any upgrades on them. Since running a Snitch army is pretty expensive. Okay. So interesting game. Flower Fairy has a lot of trust into the Scorpions, that they can keep the sledgehammer thing under control. I'm not sure about the deep flanks here though. As long as he missiles that, he's losing so much tempo every time. And he's supply spec, so he can do so without much trouble. Alright, so last Flower Fairy game is into Agri. Also a very good player. Supply, Rhino. Agri's packs don't look that amazing, to be honest. Maybe Farsia? Does go for the supply again. Steel Ball a pretty good opener right now, I think. Yep, it's exactly why this is not such a great pack. So he goes for the Giant spec with the Tarantula opener. And he will most likely not play aggressive with this. Standard Flower Fairy Chaff by. One single Fang in the middle to channel all of these units to the middle. Steel Balls are connecting on the Tarantulas. Oh no. So this is interesting. There is Steel Balls on both sides of the right tower. Nothing here, so a little bit of a asim on the ball placement. Middle ball is a little bit further back. This I like. I think that's an interesting tactic. Steel Balls, I think stacking Steel Balls is a good idea, because these will reach the tower faster than a Tarantula push if it's on the opposite side. And if they are on the same side, it's a higher chance that Steel Balls actually get to connect to the Tarantula. So I think I will employ that tactic as well. Very good in this specific case here. Alright, we got Phoenix versus Stormcaller. Additional Arclight. Since there's 4 squads of crawlers and an additional Stormcaller. Not quite sure why he's going for the Stormcallers here. Guess into the Arclights. But Stormcaller's not that amazing at killing Steel Balls, really, because they're too fast. And Flower Fairy has the superior chuff clear since he invested into more Arclights, and there's 4 Arclights clearing and just 2 spiders. So that's gonna be a round for Flower Fairy. Marksman play, so normal play for Agri, and actually a Saber for Flower Fairy. That's very interesting. Feels like the Stormcallers can't kill that. And he will try to get the spiders down ASAP. And also Mustangs in the back, interesting. Wonder why Agri is going for the Mustangs. I don't think there's anything on this board that warrants that. Because he already has the Marksman for the Phoenix play. Was he scared of Wasp here? Maybe? It's a bit weird, but the Saber does actually nail the spider. Now Mustangs are really good into Saber, but suck against Arclights. There's no 5 Arclights coming here. And Marksman on the same level as the Saber can't really kill that. So Agri is still bleeding a lot of points here. Lightning Storm, tank production. Okay. So they're both greeding for giants here. A blind melter buy to counter the Saber. Stormcaller for Flower Fairy. And another Stormcaller for Agri even. Now Stormcallers against this kind of board I like much more, because there is very little that it's bad against, and everything else the Arclight does counter already. Not sure why the Melter though. These Tarantulas got nothing but hate, they do not have upgrades, so they can't shove clear for the Melter. And that means the Saber will just annihilate that thing. 30k HP. Almost dead to one shot. Not sure what Agri is playing here. This is very odd. Still has the item, by the way. So he was floating 200 while being behind. Okay, Overlord. Trying to cheese the tower real quick. Crawler here to drag the crawlers to the side. Other than that, just some upgrades and the speed. So a quick little gut punch play. Does not quite work out because of the spider, but on the other hand he's gonna kill a spider for free, so can't really be mad about that one. Missile was terrible. But yeah, other than that, it's the same deal as last round's Arclight, with range clear better than Tarantulas that didn't have an upgrade until now. And then the Stormcaller game is pretty much even. There's Phoenixes on this side that deal damage faster than the Marksmen do. That is a very sad round 5 final. Alright. Really not sure why he chose to go for the Mustangs here. Alright. So pretty big win for a Flower Fairy, I would say. And then we have the second group of the same worst players of all, I would say. I'm gonna see. I actually played against Sauron in 2 vs 2 recently. Right, so we have a barcode account. No idea what he's playing, so I can't predict the packs as well. If he's aggro, he will pick this one. Fire Badger, okay, maybe. We'll see. Does go for the aggro pack, okay? And no hair goes for Marksman Sledge. Right, we're gonna do this on fast pace for sure. This is the second version. Okay, it does actually go for a Hound start. Interesting. Vertical sledges for the opponent to slow down the balls. But as we can see, that doesn't really matter if you're not playing isometrical. So round 1 goes to barcode. Some steel balls. Does not like it. Redeployment is quite nice because you can swap sides here. Interesting that the barcode actually skips redeployment. So it does want to go for the big Kahuna Wraith push. And needs his money in order to deploy. Okay. A beaconed crawler. Wonder what that's about. I mean, you're dragging a little bit of units to the side, but the crawlers die too fast in order to actually alleviate some pressure from the push. If you want to do that, you have to run from here to here, not from here to here. Right, Orangeman got absolutely wasted, but I think the Orangeman is also mispositioned. If you have him on the side here, he's very vulnerable to flanks, getting dragged away, and not shooting the targets that you would like him to shoot. So for now, this is a very solid Wraith push without the Rhino. That does not bode well for Mr. No Hair. Good value on this Wasp drop. Because it will distract Marksman. It's a lone coming for No Hair on round 3. That is minus 100 right there. Safety missile here in case the Wasp Swarm comes in. And he will rely, if there's Wasp here, that they will get dragged by the crawlers to the sides. So very greedy deployment there. Excellent value on the Wasp here, and as you can see, Orangeman does exactly what I predicted. Not shooting any targets that you would like him to. Wraith barely makes it in. That should mean this one level 2 steel ball does actually explode the Vulcan. It's very close though. Orangeman shooting at doggies. Alright. So half health, and now comes the Rhino turn. 4 rhinos actually. Does have slow immunity, armor, final blitz. So the Vulcan got dropped and straight into Scorch. Most likely because he didn't see any armor on the balls. But he can try to go for the Rhino armor play. There's multiple angles here where the rhinos could arrive. And the armor is very good into Fire Badger, which is a decent pick into this kind of board as well. So I think that should be a armor play here. Could also go for range on the boards. Let's go for the Wraith for now, okay? Now Nohair is splitting his forces even more, which is not good. Because now everybody will fight something, and the Wraith will come to the front and clear your chaff. And that means steel balls get high value here. Orange Man almost shot a Wraith, but then decided against it. That's nice amount of XP. Alright, was way closer here. Sheet airdrop for sure. And now we go for a side play to the other side, which is exactly why this is very hard to defend. And he even still does upgrade the tower. That is not a good play. Good answer with the steel balls to the flank. But now there is Wasp coming in and he does not have any answer to Wasp right now. Other than a few fangs. Which means the marksmen yet again are pretty useless in the defense. It's playing like a budget area spec. Which goes to show you, if he was area spec, these units would have given him a 100 supply buff, which is pretty much nothing. So Rhino spec is just 10 times better. Even goes for advanced defense tactics, okay. Has a lot of tanky units, I give him that. Sails out of the flank Rhino, so there's useless deploys in the back here. His opponent chooses to go for Wraith. I guess to deal with the Wasp. The thing is, these Wasp have jump drive, so if he wants to, he can make another switcheroo. Already has a double beacon. No range on the Vulcans, but range on the steel balls, so they can actually latch onto the Vulcan quite safely. Does actually just go for the same tower again, alright. Yeah, Vulcans get absolutely murdered by the steel balls here. And that is round 6 kill, right? Nothing fancy, I would say. But in all honesty, I think Nohair did a lot of mistakes here in terms of defending this chaff placement, the orange man, all getting dragged to the side here. Enabling these Wraith to do their job very well without much of anything in the front. Even though you are in marksman, which are technically good against this kind of play. Alright, so next up we have the Dark Lord. Sabertooth spec looking good if he wants to get aggressive again. Typhoon spec for standard play. Course control if you're mad. Sauron also has very decent options. I think all of these are actually playable. Let's see. So he does go for the aggressive pack again. And Sauron does go for my favorite pack, the Quick Spec. And does actually choose to use the sledgehammers as his steel ball defense. In all honesty, I think it's fine to do that, but I would never do that on round 1. I think on round 1 you don't quite know where the steel balls are, and as such that is quite dangerous to do. But in the end they do their job, and the Stormcallers very, very much like sledgehammers in front, because they get to focus fire. So intense training for Sauron and a skip for the Barcode. Barcode is going straight into cell of steel balls and a Scorpion. Maybe he knows something about Sauron that we don't. Is this a sledge carry enjoyer? Not really. I guess he can do it. On the other hand, Sauron is also a little bit overreacting into the steel ball play here. Ooh, Scorpion actually makes it. Now we got double fort play. Launcher Overload on the fort. Some mad teching going on here. So steel balls did pick up a level, and there's triple Mustangs now for Mr. Barcode. Getting rid of a lot of this shove, also decent into the Stormcaller, and has the opportunity to click Missile Interceptor later if he wants to. Yeah, Scorpion MVP yet again. This absolutely kicks his ass, and even enhancement module for instant value. Goes fully into Ford Mustang. And then a big fort thanks to the intensive training for Sauron. And just more chuff. So the biggie fort is gonna be very, very hard to clear. And he does have launcher overload, so even though forts do not do very into Mustang, he does get to shoot twice as fast. So it's a pretty close round. And Mr. Barcode does not run the new setup, he's still sticking to the old setup and does run range on the fort instead. Barcode goes super greedy on advanced targeting system and is now in Mustang Melter, which is very bad news if you are in forts on round 5. There's a lot of Mustangs that you have to clear, and the Melter will not suffice. Now into these Mustangs you usually should run crawlers with subterranean assault, but since he greeded for his big fort play with fangs and fang shields and whatnot, he's quite susceptible to the Mustangs. And right now this is not such an issue, but if he gets more melters and more levels on the Mustangs, he will outscale the forts. Even having a 10 range advantage now. Right, so it's going to be fire play everywhere. Big enhancement module value yet again. Forts are getting carry fort upgrades. Did not click temp range. And didn't have to because he has the upgrade. We will keep track of this because he might actually just overpay. And I am pretty sure that Sauron could be dead this turn if he didn't greed for the minus 400. So battleship in the back. And then EMP on every melter. And also EMP on the Stormcaller for his opponent to shut down the attacks on these melters. Only problem is, you still don't have the necessary chaff clear to kill all of these Mustangs. And as such, the Stormcallers will not shoot the melter unless you already won. So might actually get a shot on this one. Nope. There you go. So Electromag, good upgrade, but only if you can clear all the chaff. Right, last one. Underground Threat, very powerful spell here, because this guy still has problems with chaff clear. Then there's a Cheese Armor Phantom Ray play, which is quite weak at this point. And a Mars Crawler attack, since he identified that there's only one single Vulcan here and there's a lot of crawlers to replicate. So this side will now have some crawler issues. The Phantom Rains don't do anything, since he does have Fangs. So the Melter will not shoot anything other than Fangs. And now instead the Melter will shoot the Phantom Rays and you lose anyway. So Phantom Rays are not really useful as chaff if your opponent already is clearing your chaff at the same time. You have to delay those in order to make them actual chaff units. In this case, you're just making the melters more efficient. Okay, so the dreaded Meltang Mustang Force did work out quite well. With some crawler flavor, let's say. Really dislike the board for Sauron though. He's relying on the fortress, but the fortress cannot carry this kind of board anymore. Not alone, at least. Okay. Trading spec looking cool. Quick supply and supply for his opponent. Giant spec if he's feeling spicy. And he does as I say. Alright. So it's gonna be supply spec into trading spec. Barcode plays yet again the same strategy, pretty much copy-pasted. Did not use his training spec as far as I can tell. Okay, there's Phantom Rays with the steel balls versus Scorpion. Goes again for the Wraith. And I guess that's where the training goes, right? At least I would assume so. No? That's quite interesting. Blind Phoenix for his opponent. Into Steel Balls, into Wraith, into Phantom Ray. Very rough round 2. Core for both. Good item on Wraith. Distraction Crawler to get rid of the Phoenix. And finally we see the intensive training. I would argue he could have used it a turn before, but Mustangs for the amplifier carry. So without the Phoenixes or any support, Wraith goes in for free. And we got some more damage on Shao. Supply for Mr. Barcode. So he's scaling quite nicely now. Charge shot on the Phoenix, alright. Very dangerous into Wraith, I would say. That's gonna be a disaster round because he chose the Wasp Swarm. So Barcode did not expect his opponent to skip Super Supply Enhancement. And thus he loses a lot of tempo, but did gain a lot of scaling. So if this game goes beyond round 7, he's gonna have a good advantage. Skip on both. I like the double Mustang, triple Mustang, because there's way too many Fangs. There's Phoenixes, there's Scorpions, and there's other Mustangs. All prime targets for Mustang gaming. Getting out of this flank. And his opponent makes a big mistake here. He did not find the oil button yet. I think that's quite necessary. If you are in Phoenixes and you're pressing charge shot. So the Mustang on this side is the only hope that the opponent has. It's basically the only unit that scales. And Training Spec has more supply and more levels than you. Just as a default, because he did not pick supply. Alright, so pretty even in HP. They both skip the EMAC. So he's waiting for that oil, and there it is. Oil button has been found, although it's a little bit late. So both units are scaling fully, and he even sells out of the Wraith since he didn't buy any techs on them. He only made a 50 double deployment investment. And since then he gained a lot of Phoenix deploys and the charge shot upgrade for pretty much nothing. I like this play, I like this play. So this is something I could employ as well. Basically you are trying to buy time for the Mustangs to scale, and then you sell out of the Wraith and try to overtake your opponent with just the Mustang party. As you can see, he has one problem. He does not have any shield break. Arclight's very good into Mustangs, but his opponent also doesn't have any shield break, because Phoenixes die instantaneously due to having no range. And there is the shield break for his opponent. There's fort play for Barcode, okay. Not going for the Mustang Melter this time. Clicks the bubble. My interpretation is he's afraid of Melter play, while opponent is having Vulcan play, sorry, Vulcan play. While his opponent is having a boatload of Arclights. Still not that great of a shield break right now. Just a Melter. And remember, this is his last oil turn. So if opponent is not ruffle stomping him this round, it's most likely not gonna get better anytime soon. It's quite close. Giga Mustangs cannot do it this turn. But there's levels, oh, and a laser sight even. So Barcode goes for even more greed. And yet does not deploy a fortress? Huh. That's a little bit weird, I would say. So more Mustangs everywhere. And range on the forts to compete with the Melter. So shield break is fully online now. So there could be fire play in the feature here. Fort's very good into the Arclights. And looks like the right flank gets overrun. And we are in round 9. Marksman very good into all of the other picks, and the only thing this board is weak to is humongous air targets with armor. Pretty much. Yeah. This one will even kill that, but we'll see. Now, opponent does not have any armor on the field. He does not take armor on the Arclights either. And since the forts are out now, I think the time for that play has passed. Oh, big cheese turn coming up. Big damage on the other side. There is the armor. And then he surrenders. What the hell? Aw. Wanted to see the play. Like these crawlers, by the way. So he was expecting the flame storm just as I did. So he put this crawler in the front to eat the electromagnetic barrage and prevent his board from burning. Alright. I like this one. I don't think Shao played that nicely, but I would say he was still pretty clear what he was trying to do here. Whoa, look at this big European play here. It's Zimp, Enter, and Red Scare, and Steel Sand. Look at this group. Holy moly. Alright, so first opponent, Illuminati. So the thing is, Zimp is a known Stormcaller enjoyer. So Illuminati, also very known oil enthusiast. And I think these guys should all know what each other is playing. Look at this, there's a Stormcaller. Let's see if Zimp has anything special up his sleeve for this tournament. But it looks like stock standard play for now. Right. Nothing much to say about this round, so we can skip that. Was a small win for Illuminati. Then we have Hounds, Marksman as the picks. So he has the same orange man now on the other side, and now Illuminati gets his power spike with the missile. So interesting part is, will we see any response to that? No. It's gonna be full Hound gameplay here. Interesting. So lots of medium chaff for Zimp. And good value on the missile strike. We'll have to watch the attack and defense upgrades for both of these, because these make a big difference in the breaking points for the Hound. Not into Fangs, just into the Crawler. Alright, so Illuminati is losing that, but not by much. Thanks to the Stormcaller. Ooh. High value stuff here. So intensive and additional, most high valued. Mobile beacon even pickable against the Stormcaller. And haste just in case you want to go into Mustangs, which you might. But there's not really that many Fangs on the board right now. 3 for each. I'm gonna say additional deployment most likely. Yep. Additional deployment for both, and it's gonna be the Fire Rain for this turn. So he's replacing Arclights with Hounds as a Band-Aid solution. Until he can get into Vulcan or similar. So the doggies get to overrun him this turn. That's a pretty good round for Zimp. Another additional deployment. Nah, they're skipping that. Charge shot Arclight to counter the Hound play. Huh. Big Worm coming in as a follow-up to the massive Incendiary play. Now, worms do not really like charge shot arc lights that much. And it's very early for a worm. Especially because of these specialists. It's additional deployments and no money. So it's gonna be a minus tempo term for Zemp in terms of money. Minus 200. As you can see, the Orange Man and the Arclight will deal with the worm for now. That's actually quite close. But not really a big turn. Alright, round 5 is another unit reinforcement. Scorpion is pickable into Worm for sure. Typhoon, not that great into a Stormcaller board. Phantom Ray is okay. It's just one marksman on the board. A Tarantula can be fine in case he does counter your Hound play. Scorpion just to break his Scorpion. Yeah. So Zeb is going for the triple deploy and then just selling out of that stuff. Ooh. Illuminati getting super cheeky with the standard play War Factory on turn 5. While picking additional deployment slot. Huh. So he's trying to counter the worm with its natural enemy. Everything is bathing in fire. I'm gonna argue without the War Factory, this is a huge turn for Illuminati. However, the War Factory is very, very expensive. He invested 1k plus the deployment, plus the upgrade, which makes future upgrades for the War Factory more expensive. So it's a tempo loss now and a gain later when the cost would actually spiral out of control. It's a smoke and a skip for Illuminati, okay. Got double steel ball production. Worms getting levels and replicating. And Zem chooses to keep the Phantom Rays. Huh. Mars Hounds everywhere. Now the big downside of fire for the War Factory is mechanical division on the steel balls gets less effective. And that means the worms will arrive at your factory, which is always bad. So he will need levels on the factory in order to actually kill these worms. Alright, there is a level on one of the factories now. Underground. To be fair, I think this board is pretty weak to crawlers right now. So not only underground, but also crawler deploys could be very valuable. More so than hounds, I would say. Wasp, also a good choice. So he's going for the classic Wasp Worm with EMP. Now here we have to do something for science. We have to check if a war factory is dying with EMP on, does it actually remove the efficient maintenance? So he's gonna loan, so he's minus 100, but he also loans. So we will see next turn how much money they start. That is if the Wasp actually connects. Alright, so this factory should be EMP'd. Good win for Illuminati. Let's check out their money. It looks like it doesn't work because this is 150 upkeep for triple war factory. And they both loaned, so EMP does not help with the efficient maintenance. I would have liked it if it did actually. But yeah, doesn't do anything other than stopping production. Photon targeting mass swarm. Or skip even. Yep, there's the photon. Finally the melter comes out. No levels on the war factories, even with the production. Not quite sure if I like that. Illuminati choosing the Fang as the answer to Wasp. Photon coating kind of doing not much because it wears off when you need it. So the war factories do get EMP'd and they do get killed by the worms because they're still level 1. However, the spawn phoenixes are doing a great job here. But can they do enough against the melter play? They have no upgrades. Neither do the steel ball units. It's very close, but I think the melter will get overrun here. Yep. Still some fangs left. But again, Illuminati is losing 200 credits every single round. So if he can't finish, there will be problems later. Zemp is just on the Mars Multi-Melter and EMP plan. Illuminati goes for another photon. Huh. The issue is his war factory is way too far in the back to profit from photon. I think that is a waste. Also, Illuminati did not deploy units in front to drag the flames into the oil or to eat the EMP barrage. So as you can see, the second that the war factory takes damage, photon emission was off. And now there's too many melters on the board. To compete with the war factory spam. Alright, last round. Wraith Cell. Range on the doggies. Bunch of shields. And finally a Phoenix tech. Shield and Quantum. Okay. Range on the Wasp. Very good turn for that. Since you can shut down Quantum with Electromech. And Fangs do not have that great of a range anyway. Another melter. This time the oil actually does burn. And range on the war factory, so very expensive turn for Illuminati. He goes all in on the war factory and tries to keep it further back. However, since he still has not leveled his war factories, I think the worm frontline is just too strong. This war factory is out of the game yet again because it gets EMP'd. This one as well. Looks like the Wasp train was enough. The Phoenixes are reassembling though. Good old Orange Man is fighting for dear life here. Here you can see something that I tested in a custom game. A war factory cannot beat a melter one-on-one once the melter has electromagnetic barrage. Steel bolts can't protect you. And the melter play gets it done. It was very close. I like the Illuminati strat. I like the mech division Phoenix attempt. I still think the worms were dealing the majority of the lifting here. Because the front line of him is not that strong, but the worms actually did most of the tanking. Especially since the war factories didn't have speed yet. Alright. Quick supply, or does he feel spicy and greeds for the Mustang? Nope. Quick supply it is. Faded to fail with the every spec aggro. So this might be another Wraith push into standard gameplay. I like this. Goes for the doggos. Doggos got quite above last pitch. Their breaking point against Stormcallers is way better now. And as you can see, they all survive the shots, even if the attack upgrade is picked. Alright, round 2. Ooh, there's a free Wraith. Sledgehammer Gaming for Zemp into Steelbolt. Also Phoenix. Both sides actually. Then there's a sneaky Rhino on the flank, which is also answered by a Phoenix. So Zemp going for the safety of his tower. Yeah, Rhino play is getting shut down. There's a little bit of a chaff clear problem here. Rhino assault for Fated versus a Greed Tech pick. More Phoenix play. Rhino does not want any of this. There's a Hound flag right on the edge of the map. So Fated falling victim to the greed of Zemp here, yet again. Because he did drop the Rhino defensively, but he did not expect the Air Force cheese. So Phoenix is everywhere. Alright. Underground, best spell. Again, on the defense for Faded. Does answer this one Phoenix flank with 2 deploys. That's an easy sell. It's still open to cheese. So Zim going for the oil play now. Trying to stop the steel balls from advancing too fast. This time the Rhino is back with chaff support and air support. And will negate one of the oil turns. Very well played by Faded. Also did choose to missile this in case there is another cheese. Ooh, fire. Yeah. Fire and a good shield against the fire, but I think Kronos will still go past. Sells out of the Phoenix here, since it got answered by the units. Fire doggies everywhere now. And Quantum Phoenix. Pretty good against the Wasp, since Wasp play relies on killing the Phoenixes with overwhelming numbers, and this way you get 4 Phoenixes against every Wasp. Yeah, unfortunately the fire was a little bit too greedy. Happened to me as well. You have to put it a little further back in case the shield shenanigans happens. Yeah, but he does defend it with thanks to the Phoenix leveling up. Does still get murdered on this flank. However, he does reassemble the Phoenixes. Now it should be a numbers game. And wins round 6 with some points. Not many, but enough. Phantom Ray on the front. Phantom Ray in the back. Stealth play for Phantom Rays, huh? Okay, not sure what that's about. Now this works well for one turn and then it does not, because you get missiled and then you die. And these Phoenixes have reassembly, so you're not getting that much value out of the Phantom Rays. This time the Rhino is trying to escape, but it will not. Chuff is running straight through the flames, and then the Rhino will get assassinated by the birds. But still, the front is not holding. For, I would say, 4th round in a row now. But as I already said, Phoenixes do get twice the value. And he picked the Phantom Rays into the Phoenix Quantum Reassembly tech. So I'm not sure what that's about. Mustang's a pretty good answer to this Phoenix play for now. However, they will need the necessary upgrades. So round 7, slight win for Zemp as well. It's another Wasp Swarm. There's the mentioned rocket. Very little tech on Zem's board, by the way. So his efficient tech research not quite worth it. Just breaks even this round. Right. So Phantom Rays pretty much died on the flank immediately. Giga Rhino is making it in again. Gets assassinated by the Phoenix. But now there's a big bird party going on. And while these birds don't have range, neither does he. Mustang is getting fed. It's getting quite close here for both parties. But now it's time for double oil. Also chooses the battleship. Does get answered by the crawler unit. Mars rockets to answer that. Since there is a underground threat and a boat coming. And a rhino. And a shield. So now we got range versus range and quantum. So still the same matchup in terms of tech. The oil, however, makes the doggies and the mustangs a little bit weaker this turn. And the phoenixes will not get assassinated by mustangs anymore since they do not have the anti-air tech. And there is other units. Alright, very successful round for Zampier. But not quite. Big boy fortress coming in. I guess that is a anti-air barrage, I would assume. Yep. And a mothership overlord, huh? I don't know if I like that into Mars ranged phoenixes and a fort drop. Oh no. Oh no. Fated to Fail is playing into the anti-air barrage. This fort is also great here because it deals with the big rhino. So even more fire from the spell he picked earlier. Anti-air barrage clears all the small units and then the Phoenix army will strike. And Zem just has way more birds after the fact. They both had EMP. So if it comes to a bird fight, whoever clicks EMP first in quantum reassembly will also win. But I like the 4 anti-air play as a prevention tactic to deny Mars spam wasp. So wins with a very good read there in the end. Other than that, very shaky. Alright, here comes Enter. Farsi is back. Not sure what Enter will be playing. Most likely Marksman. Does still go quick supply. Interesting. Rhino. Okay. Ooh, is this the blue hair special? It's a mid-deployment of balls with arc lights. Now for those who don't know, Blue Hair played a very powerful series on Saturday, utilizing steel balls and assault marksman, phantom rays, braves, every single air unit you can imagine. and deployed a middle steel ball deployment on turn 1. Which worked very well into most boards, I have to say. Got shield versus extended ranges Phoenix. And Zem just swaps to the standard play to clear out the Arclight Fangs and support with the Sledgehammer clearing. But does lose to the Phoenix in the end. No greed picks for either one. More chaff. And Arclight range. And copy pasta on the other side. So Zemp relying onto the Fangs to shut this down. Yet again, Phoenixes to survive. Farseer versus Firebadger. Neither one goes for the Mustangs. And the level seer here will do very well into the Rhino. And he's quite lucky that the Rhino is actually on the right flank. Value destruction crawler versus the inner Stormcaller placement. And here is where the value is. Look at this. Deals with the Rhino. Deals with the Badger. Deals with the Sledges. Arclights. Phoenix. Huge tempo. Something the marksman couldn't have done, but marksmen do start leveling and scaling now. Greed? Yeah. So Zem doing his best Flower Fairy impression. Just marksman and Arclights. Opposition is making a first play, which is the Sandworm. So we will see what kind of an answer Zem will choose. But for now, there is still gonna be the problem of this Farseer, which might actually be able to kill this worm. Ah, not quite. There's still some chaff left. And he barely is not able to do it. That's a level on the worm. Oh, look at this. Multiple answers to worms. Zemsport is pretty weak to mass airplay. So it chooses the wasp and will go with the rooster solution of picking ignite. Trying to bring down the worm's HP. Also goes for a oil, since chaff clear still was a problem here. And this kind of board does not like loose crawler, if it ever gets clicked. He does have range on the wasp, and the wasp on the other side do not have it. Both of his solutions are soft counters to worm, aka they don't work. Especially if the worms have items. If the worms get items, you cannot make this kind of play. However, this is a matter of not having enough chaff. If he had more fangs to buffer, then the ignite would actually do something, but for now that's a failed turn. But the wasp pick did really well and did answer the opponent's wasp. Right, this time it's time to go and actually pick a unit that does well into the worm. This is correct. More chaff. All over here. And there is the doubling of the chaff, since there's no clear answer on this board other than a badger. However, there is some sneaky storm coverage being called in. Now the big problem with this play here is if he gets anti-missile devices, your wave clay disappears. If there's fire here, you die. Ooh, nice missile on the wasp here, thanks to the oil stopping the rest. Right, and now we have multiple ignite targets for the fangs. Some wasp DPS. He does deal much better with the worms this turn. Still pretty soft, but the ignite actually doing its job this time. Good tower upgrade too, just so the lava and the wasp don't one-shot that thing. There's Mustangs. War Factory. Okay. And there's the missile interceptor. Alright. So he goes 2 for 1 here. War Factory very good into worms. Especially because he doesn't have anything right now to clear this lava. War Factory does one-shot them and does okay against Sandworm. But I already mentioned the War Factory does not do well against worms once it's one level down. But it will stall for this Mustang and the Ignite. And these units can actually deal with war factories if you leave them time. There you go. War factory is killed off almost instantly. But so do the worms perish. And now we have a equal playing field here. I still stand by my choice. I think a mass missile interceptor would have done better. Just like he did. Since this is a high explosive storms, they don't deal that much damage, but they clear the fangs. And the worms do not like clearing fangs at all. The big upside is the war factory is a big blob to hold up the worms and to stop the mustangs from annihilating the fangs. And he did actually make the mistake of picking high explosive ammo. So he does nothing against the other units here. Oh, what's the speaking? Okay. He's gonna get stuck to the tower here, by the way. And he's afraid of getting melted into his face. Which is absolutely correct. Another factory, I like that, because we still need more missile interceptors. And he hides it over here to make sure that these stormcars get covered. And these sledges get annihilated from that. Ooh, cheeky little wasp play here. I like it, I like it. They have range, so they beat the fangs. As you can see, the war factory does not like this tower. So it's gonna completely abandon its post, but the wasp play actually makes the big difference here. And then again, I already said the missile interceptor does deal very well with the stormcaller deploys here. And there's enough of a gun line here to finish this nest of Melta and stormcallers. Alright. So Angel survives barely one more round. Nano repair. Probably on a worm. Yeah. So Zemp is quite poor here, because he does have double war factory. That's minus 400. Does go for a cheese worm play. It's all around yet again. Since Zemp chose the oil on turn 4, unlike the other guy we spectated earlier, who made the mistake of buying the oil too late and then not getting the value out of that. The trick with oil is not getting one turn, it's getting multiple turns multiple times. And it does burn. War Factory is actually DPSing on this worm, doing very, very well. Shooting at a bunch of units that it likes to shoot at because it has Mustang support, high level Mustang. And everything that the high level Mustang doesn't kill, the War Factory will. And it's at 165 range thanks to range enhancement and advanced targeting system versus no system. Alright. So another game of War Factory win. And last but not least, it's Steel Sane versus Zemp. So since it's Steel Sane, we assume there's gonna be like 50 phoenixes in his flank pretty soon. And some sledges everywhere. Okay, so there's a saber tank, 40, even giants back. And Steel Sane goes for a very weird pack. Interesting. I don't think Zemp is gonna be too happy with his packs. Okay, he does go for the giants. ASIM aggro for Steel Sane. And middle ball yet again. I like this one. Very good opener against aggro, and as you can see right here, this is so annoying because even if this tower is level 2, the steel ball will take it out. And this is why steel ball openers are quite strong now. It's a level 2 ball. He actually goes for the power spike with the Farseer instead of the Fangs. Huh. Interesting. I mean, not that I disagree, but I would have expected Zemp to not pick it. It's doing very well though. It's clearing like an arc light and DPSing like a spider. And that's pretty much another very, very clean round. I really like Farseers, especially if you're playing somebody like Steel Sane who loves his Phoenix cheese. Farseer in a flank shuts down all of that, no problem. Yeah, especially on this kind of game. Steel Sane loves picking missile striking something, and look at this. Am I able to look into the future? I am, because he does this every time, which is highly predictable. And there you go. Zemp already knows that and does actually choose to deploy another Farseer. That is a humongous tempo swing because Farseers deal 300 damage per unit and Steel Sane will lose a deploy and an unlock to that flank. And it can't be fixed with crawlers either. So ranged arc lights, another cheese. This time straight in the front. Ooh, it does actually miss one Phoenix. Interesting. Yeah, good rocket Phoenix cheese on the front. And he did that without range. I would always play Phoenix range in that case, but he knew he could get away with it without. So now it's Mustang time everywhere. Steel Sane does not run Quantum, so he is quite vulnerable to getting sniped. And now comes the oil churn. Does actually ignite it too. And that's a humongous loss in this round. Here, another incendiary. That's a greedy incendiary though, right? Huh. I would have expected the shields way more in the front. EMP on the Farseer, okay. Wonder why? Yeah, it was good shield against the incendiary here. he does click range enhancement on the Phoenixes now. Barrier versus laser sight, so it's gonna be Fort anti-air coming up. Since he sees there's no quantum. Interesting that he goes for the Scorch Fire Badger frontline. This is a play he does because he has additional range on the Fire Badger thanks to his spec. However, Fortress still deals just fine with clearing Fire Badgers, and it does deal with the Phoenixes. So Steel Sane double whammied himself. But we all could see where this was coming from, because there was too much deploys here in the flanks. And he lost a lot of tempo early. Also picked Super Supply Enhancement, you know how I hate that one. Because that loses way too much tempo in this kind of game. If it's an even game and you're both sitting at 4k HP, it's a must pick no matter what. But if you are behind on tempo, you will get annihilated within 2 turns, and then it will never pay off since it's round 7. So even if you picked it on round 4, which is optimal, you wouldn't have gotten any value here. Too much value on the steel ball opening here. Alright, so this is Zemp basically reading his opponent, knowing what he plays, since he and Steel Sane have played enough games against each other. And I could have predicted the same thing, because I see them both playing, and they both have very, very straightforward style to play. Let's call it that. They don't do much interesting stuff, and they don't lose quite much. Alright, we got Invincible, See Molly, and Remove, Redeploy, Nano Jump Drive. Okay. Interesting. Not gonna cast that one though. There's a lot of players, right? Holy moly. Yeah, really nice to see though. Alright, so finally America's region. There's AWM again, TNT from the last week. And Spade wins this, okay. So he beat some pretty good players here. I don't know who Glycogen is, but apparently he's not that bad, because he's also in the top 4. And the rest of them are all players that like to play tournaments and whatnot, including TNT here. So let's see what Spade has to offer in terms of style. Alrighty, we have Typhoon spec versus Marksman spec. It looks like a standard middle deploy versus a one-sided steel ball push. Interesting. So you get some marksman on turn 1. But thanks to the middle deployment, he will drag everything towards the middle, away from the tower. He should be fine in terms of unit splitting. However, steel ball mass does catch the spider off guard. And there's just too much stuff in the middle. So the scary thing about this match is that TNT will get his marksman power spike way earlier than the Typhoon, and he also has the steel ball opener. So we need to see some tempo plays from TNT in order to not just die in the early game. Can skip these. Extended range arc light maybe for TNT. Yeah, he's thinking about it. Does go for it. Really dislike that marksman. That is not something I would deploy in this kind of situation. But now he has some more crawlers as shove. And his opponent was already in Arclight, so he's playing more stuff into the Arclights that he already likes to clear. Yeah, this is not looking like a healthy board at all, so he's down 1k. But here comes the unit drops to try and save him. It's Bencher versus Wraith now. Now Wraith is interesting because it does deal quite well with the crawler spammage, and there is no anti-air option on the board right now, so he's gonna take a humongous loss here if he didn't pick the Wraith. This is obviously not a great unit in a defense, but a very good unit if there's nothing else on the board, and he's coming in with high speed. Great XP for the Wraith as well. Should actually level up, right? Not quite. Yeah, he does, because the Fire Badger is level 3. Holy moly. So we got TNT on high speed now. Wraith getting absolutely dangerous now. Armor on the balls, but there is Scorch preventively clicked on the Vulcan. So that Wraith is probably gonna get sold, but it already did its job. And this is where I would have died. I wouldn't have picked the Wraith, I think. But it was the correct play, and I will do that. A level 2 Wraith is always a problem for any kind of board, because it forces your opponent to do things like these. Over-invest into counters. And now his opponent deployed Phoenixes into already deployed marksmen, which is good in the long run. Invested another 100 into elite recruiting and another 50. So he's now down 200 and 100 because he sold the Typhoon. There we go. Brave this out and about. And instead we got big Vulcan plays with marksmen. Thing is, steel balls do get the range here, so the Vulcans might actually get targeted. Looks like he's fine for now. There's not that much chaff clear on the aggressor's side, but the medium Vulcan gets dunked on. And there we go. So this is all the work of the level 2 Wraith, pretty much. Because it enables the Vulcan defense to come online, cheat out some levels, get marksmen with levels, then later go for the best partner combo. Steel balls do have levels, but not enough to get armor. since these guys have 360 DPS and even the weakest Vulcan has 240. Ooh, that's a nice oil though. So that's gonna be a good turn here. Gets the steel balls going for sure. This side, however, is not doing very well. There's a lot of crawler splits here happening that the Phoenixes do absolutely hate. It's another Vulcan bonk. Another fire control. And now finally it's time for range. Where's this iron beam coming from? From this side. Not sure if he can kill the Vulcan with that. This Vulcan is killable. But I would argue the iron beam in the opposite direction is way more interesting. Okay, so there is counterplay now. Wasp coming. Even Wasp with jump drive. So there's gotta be some sort of Mustang play here. Vulcan immediately dies, okay. But this is why you should iron beam this way. Oh no, he's even gonna kill Wasp. Yeah, this iron beam was questionable, because as you can see the level 2 Vulcan is fully operational. It does not care about iron beams. And neither do you care about him. Ouch. Yeah, Sledgehammer is great just to prevent melters from latching on. So you can just deploy them in the front. And other than that, we just need a soft counter to Wasp. Could be more Fangs, could be Mustangs. Mustangs also very well against Phoenix and Steelball and Melter, because they all hate targeting Mustangs. The only thing on this board that likes targeting Mustangs is the Arclights, and the Arclights are already struggling with the Crawlers. So if he wants to, he can press the loose Crawler button here as well, and then we have some huge issues. He does go again for this play, I think. He should have shielded that. That was the second time that the rocket comes for the Vulcan. But I think the composition is fully online and there's nothing that he can do. The EMP on the Arclights is pure copium, because Melta's still shooting at Mustangs. And the marksman gun line will kill you. The Vulcans are not here to carry, they are here to deny the medium chaff. So you can EMP those all you want. At the point where the Arclights reach them with the EMP, most likely your board is already cleared. That's a pretty clean game from Spade. The early game was absolutely disaster from start to finish, but the Wraith turned it around, tanked the tempo, big plays, correct pick, and Bearlike was smiling upon him. Otherwise he was out first round. Okay. There's a supply spider if he wants to go that route. No. Just go area spec. Quick supply here. Glycogen goes for the degenerate ASIM spider trash can push. Okay. So that's gonna be another middle deployment, I guess. Ooh, no chaff. No chaff and vertical sledges. Huh. Now turn 1. This doesn't look that hot, but he's completely outstatted. I actually made it quite close. I like this. It's an okay position, I would say. Alright, we got double wasp cheese. Good into marksman, good into no air. Support board. Also a good pick for him because Mustangs do not well into Tarantula. Ew, and there's the missile strike. However, the wasp unit should get that tower down, and he did actually manage to get it, because the level 1 Fang unit will not deal with a wasp unit, because Spade is in area spec. The big downside of a wasp drop is obviously that he doesn't get his plus 50 for being area spec, and his opponent gets a free air unit. Alright. So Mr. Spade is getting greedy here. There's a Mustang blindly deployed, assuming that the wasp will still be somewhere around. And Mr. Spade is again in a big tempo loss round. However, he still has oil and he has that magic item, so he has to deploy a big boy this turn. There he is. And the spiders do not like breaking shields. That is not their main role right now, because the spider got its attack nerfed. Earlier it could actually do that. And then look at this spell. There's some double spellage going on. It looks much better. Still not a great round, but you know, he deployed a, or what do I say? He didn't deploy, he forced out a Vulcan and still managed to win the round. There's the big Wraith again. And what would you know? He's gonna pick it. His area spec is becoming less and less useful by the minute, but that's fine. Stormcaller deploy for the opponent, trying to crack open that shield. Does work. The Wraith is working on the tower, but it's quite slow because there is a level 2 upgrade on that. But it's still a level 3 area spec Wraith. So let's see what this monster can do while a tower debuff is happening. It's gonna kill all the spiders. He does not kill the marksman. That's another 600 value on the Wraith. Sets that thing. And goes again into the full Vulcan composition and additional Mustangs to get rid of this freaking wasp shield. Alright, it's a hold. A very shaky hold. But the only reason why he is dealing that much damage to him is the Stormcallers. The Stormcallers are doing the heavy lifting here. So let's pause this for a second. This is the most important round here. Actually, it was the round before that. The opponent chooses to go for armor, for just balls into Vulcan. I think that's a big mistake. There's nothing here that the balls want to target except the Vulcan. And he's already in Scorch. has marksman. The only thing that was good last turn was this Stormcaller, breaking the shield, killing the Vulcan. This one also on shield breakage. And then the Tarantulas could actually do their chaff clearing job and kill some Mustangs too. His opponent also has a level 3 tower here, which is super expensive by the way. That's 100 for the first and 150, so it's minus 250, just because there was a level 3 Wraith here, so he got scared. Then on this side we have a useless chaff that dies instantly, and a spider. So if you're deploying steel bolts, spiders, marksman, and you have superb chaff clear, you die to hacker, you die to melter, you die to any single DPS unit that you might deploy here. I'm not quite sure if he can do anything from this position here. His Wasp is his second best performing unit. That tells you a lot about this state of the game, because the Wasp just flies in here and gets killed by the Mustangs. So that can't be the carry plan. And all this while Spade is in area spec. So he pretty much doesn't have a spec. Now Glycogen did something that I always advise against. He picked the super supply enhancement. As you can tell by the numbers here, he does not make any money off that. So he needs to have at least 2 rounds where he goes even before he even starts to profit from that. And that is quite annoying when you have advanced power system and rush into your enemy head first when he has Vulcans coming up with oil. So keep this in mind while you're watching this. I don't see anything on Glycogen's side that would make me go, yeah, this is how you should do it. There's no obvious flaw here. He could go for a missile strike play onto this side, Phoenix into the tower, but that is already fortified, so this mister here is thinking very well about this stuff right now. And there you go. So super supply enhancement is gonna kill him next turn, pretty much. So Vulcan party is fully online. Look at this sneaky guy. He actually prevents this play that I was talking about. The one thing I dislike is Elite Marksman. I don't think you have to hit that upgrade. That's too expensive. And I don't think it's necessary. If you want to go upgrade, just go shooting a squad. Since the spiders do not reach your fangs, might as well have something else. Yeah, and Spade wins this game because Glycogen has the same thought process as I did. He has this trash can start, and the trash can did not deliver. Right. So what can we take away from Spade's gameplay? Always pick the Fat Wraith and force your opposition to react. Even if you dislike waves and you don't want to tech them, doesn't matter. Right, got a Marksman spec, Typhoon spec if he likes doggies. He does not like doggies. And Zemp Amplify looks garbage, but probably his best bet. Cost control maybe? Zemp goes for Fortified Hound Steel Ball. Okay. Now right out of the gate I would say that Spade is favored here, because this is not... That cannot be Zemp's favorite pack. Let's call it like that. Because we already saw how he was playing earlier, and nothing of his play involved Steelboard Hound in an aggressive manner. He was just putting the doggies on incendiary bomb duty, and that's all that did for the turn. I actually like the marksman into the fortified spec though, because marksman will get some good value here. And having chaff hounds in your opener means you are light on chaff. Ooh, Spade goes for the dreaded haste module. And Zamp is going for the full Stormcaller gameplay, since there was nothing here last turn that does well into Stormcaller. So it's gonna be a lost round, I would say, right? Nope, there's two crawlers. Alright. Wasp for sure. Yep, double Wasp. And Phantom Ray for Zamp. There's the Forced Vulcan. Yet again, on a haste module, so he's very speedy and very killy. Which does make a difference against the doggies and the balls. However, the Phantom Rays do feast on the Vulcan. And actually the Fortify does make a big difference here. Because the Fortify prevents the level 3 Orange Man to one-shot these Phantom Rays. Double spell round. I would say pretty even. The Wasp Swarm might be able to take the Phantom Ray. Let's see. Nope. Tower debuff. Alright, we're into Mustang and a Saber. Level 5 Saber. Might actually keep that to kill the Vulcan here. Mustangs with Interceptor can deal with the Stormcaller and the Phantom Ray threat. Also deals with a Wasp. Just deployed back here. Alright. Actually, hold on a second. Zig did die. So there's still range missing for the Vulcan. Yes, 1k, so he might actually hit the Interceptor this turn. Going double shot, okay. Double shot deals pretty well with the Phantom Ray as well. Yep, there's the Missile Interceptor. Vulcan gets stuck to the Sabertooth, that's quite bad. So Saber does its job for sure. Keeps the marksman busy. Alright. I would say same thing again. Range on the Vulcans, there it is. And this time the fire is on the opposite side. Double sandworm on the flank. And there's the doggy incendiary bomb. Not quite sure why Zem chooses to do this, because there is 3 units on the board that get countered by Mustang Interceptor now. So other than the worm, he doesn't have anything going for him. And the worms do not have the items or the levels. Okay. Now we got oil on the Phantom Race. Interesting. This one I will actually watch, because I never see the oil picked. Alright, so far the oil didn't do anything, because the Mustangs intercept the oil as well. Since this is coded as a missile as well, which I think is quite sad. I think it should not be countered, because the upgrade is already not very well received, and the unit itself is countered by interception anyway, so it's even worse. It's a big fat loss for Zemp. I don't know. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 units that get countered by these 3. And the Vulcans can kill everything else. That is not an issue for him to kill multiple light units. He can't click armor because there is Scorch. So the only issue that Spade had was the worms, and the worms die to the Wasp afterwards, or to the double shot marksman. Alright. So pretty clean game, I would say. And now we got AWM, which is another winner of the midweek tournament, I guess from last week or the week before, I don't remember. Very interesting player. Giant spec on Spade with Stormcaller start. To be honest, his packs are all pretty meh. Goes for Aerial spec Steel Ball, okay. So also values the Steel Ball starting pack. So it's gonna be another ASIM. Goes with inside storms, but does put them vertically. Interesting. I think I like, generally speaking, I like vertical Stormcallers more, since the attack speed nerf even more, because the amount of times that this unit spends reloading is massive, and you need to spread the rockets pretty much. They're not as good against single targets, because there's not much in the early game that requires as much damage. And they spread the rockets pretty far and wide anyway, so might as well get multiple timings. Okay, so that's an easy win for AWM. Ooh, nuke at home versus laser sight. Got a cheesy little wasp turn. Might be afraid of the aerial spec coming in here with a cheeky little wasp display. And if he does not, the wasp will deal fine with whatever is deployed here on the corners. So it's basically just a precaution. Yep, Stormcurlers can deal with the middle just fine. And then he auto wins the round thanks to the wasp. And there's his favorite unit. Although there was also a quadruple marksman deploy, which could have been juicy as well. Into Phantom Ray, I might have preferred that actually. On the other hand, no, actually he's a giant spec, huh? In that case, I disagree with that play. I think getting the Vulcan out is not worth as much as 4 marksmen. And this is without me knowing that AWM is a area spec, by the way. Which makes this play even more questionable, I would say. Yep. That's a big ruffle stomp on round 3. Ironically, he got killed by the Wraith. And he does not have extended range marksman either now. Feels Batman. Okay, so the Vulcan is going for a big item play here. But what is he gonna do about the air? He's gonna deploy marksman, see? Yeah, that was not the play. Certainly not. So steel balls are relying on getting to latch onto the Vulcan. And they do. Can they out-tank him? They can. But they still get roasted a little bit from the side. Yeah. But as you can tell, deploying one marksman and calling it a day does not really work. So Spade, again waiting for Bear-like to bless him. Orbiter sounds good, but most of these units are moving pretty fast. So it's still quite dangerous to do that. I like the Melter because the Wraith is a big problem. But there is gonna be another problem on this side. I like this play. This is very cheeky. The only downside is he has Nuke at home, and Nuke at home deals quite well with this kind of push. Oh, nice connection on the Orbiter. One Orbiter shot here, yep, there we go, there we go. I'm gonna say though, he got quite lucky that he connected twice onto the big boys, and then the Wraith can just go and die to the Melter. Alright, so recovering on round 5. Steel Ball for Swarm, very nice. I was gonna say, if his opponent deploys a crawler here, he's a genius. If he doesn't, he's a fool. Oh no, burst mode. That is not the play. Yeah, he's trying to surround his little push here because he's afraid of the advanced missile. Wasp bomb in the corner to get the Melter involved. Yeah, looking quite good. Good missile here as well. But he did not play around the Wasp Swarm and everything goes down the drain right away. So AWM not respecting the Wasp Swarm right there. Really good advanced missile device pick, I think. Because his opponent played around the missile, but did not play around the true enemy. And now that he has a bunch of giants on board, you die to the damage so quickly. This is 2 rounds and then you're dead. So this is the last round he will lose. Raiden. And a bunch of doggies. Straight into EMP, huh? I'm not sure about this one. There is airplay possible here, by the way. This might be another air cheese right here. Yep, there we go. So I think AWM is dead. There is too many avenues where he loses here. And he can't play around all of them. But I'm really not sure about this E-Mech. If the units have range, the E-Mech is not gonna get to them. If the units don't have range, the E-Mech is useless. So, not really sure what that was about. Okay. AWM going down here. And Spade takes the tournament. Alright, so basically he's just a Vulcan marksman copy pasta of a flower fairy. No wonder what else do we have? We have some players that I know, but not really that interesting. Okay. Right, I guess that's gonna be it for the tournament. Was some fun matches though. Very heavy tempo plays for sure. Because there was many rounds here where the people should have lost, but recovered very well. And I think that's always the most fun version of this kind of play. Alright, congrats to the winners. And that's gonna be it for me, because my voice will die soon. So I hope you guys have a nice day, and see you guys next time.